So good morning, everyone. We're getting to the end of January, and so I thought it was a really important time, especially since we just had our first Master Day event of the year, just this past weekend. But one of the highlights that I had, that I enjoyed over the weekend at that event, I'm not sure about you, was seeing all of the people qualifying for incentive trips. It was huge. In fact, the thing that really grabbed my attention was the number of Team Taishi members compared to normal. In the past, it's normally been, this is the Team Kaizen group, and this is Team Taishi. It's been one or two, hasn't it? Whereas this year, it was almost a 50-50 split, with the vast majority qualifying for Team Taishi, which was just incredible. Great results. So what I wanted to do today was take that theme, that important subject, and talk about why the incentives are so important. You'll notice that there are a lot of people that qualified for those trips that also did something else where they were recognized earlier on. A lot of them had also qualified for Club QI. And I'm not sure if you picked up on that, but a lot of them were Club QI qualifiers as well. So I want to talk about, was that an accident? Was that just, did that happen by chance? Was that a coincidence? Oh, I don't think so. Everyone's going, no. It wasn't. Of course it wasn't. It was deliberate, wasn't it? So I want to talk about why that is. And especially I could see some qualifiers kind of shaking their heads in agreement that this was not an accident. Have you prepared to share a couple of comments? But I want to talk today about why the incentives are so important and what value they can offer to your business. And then, of course, get some insights from different people that are in the room today, along with myself, on what we have done to make sure that we qualify and participate. One of the great things that I love about these trips is, I guess it reveals to us, for many people that join a network marketing company, are looking for a chance for financial independence or a greater sense of financial freedom. Yeah, that's what this business model offers, especially with the concept of a residual income opportunity, where you can build an organization that works above and beyond your own personal efforts, which means you get income generated from a collective contribution versus a singular activity or effort, like a job or working as a freelancer, or where you're trading your time for money. You get more than that because you're building a machine, you're building an organization, and you get paid on the productivity of the organization versus simply your own efforts. This is huge. The challenge for most, though, that come into this environment is they don't necessarily have the business experience to know how to build business strategies and work systematically and so on. So they need something to follow, something to copy, something to duplicate. And we hear that language a lot, don't we? One of the most straightforward things that we can learn to duplicate, copy, or apply are the rules for qualifying for incentive trips. You've got your compensation plan, which is designed to reward you for the right activity and to steer you away from the less productive, less rewarding activity. Okay, it's designed to keep you on the right track and move you in the right direction towards greater levels of prosperity. It's great to have a model that works that way. And it's great to have those rules in place that keep you away from getting preoccupied in places or doing things that don't really generate the right amount of return. Okay, so it's good that it steers you in that way. But the incentive programs that we have in place take it another step further, because what they provide for us is a framework where we can build our business month after month, quarter after quarter, or year after year in a way that will generate a meaningful business, or create that, establish a foundation, a pattern of doing that. I want to talk today about two particular incentives in the program. I don't have time to go over all of them. I'm going to talk about two today, and that is Club QI, which is a 3-monthly activity, and Team Kaizen. And we can put / Team Taishi into the mix there as well. The two are very similar, the only difference being a larger amount of volume requirement for Team Taishi. So I'm going to share my screen and start off by just showing you what are the requirements for this. And then we'll jump into why it's important and what we can do to win them. Okay, so I'm going to do a share screen. Bear with me 1 second. Here we go. Oh, let's get rid of that page. Okay, let's start here. Can you see Club QI up on your screen? Okay, good. So as a reminder, this document that I'm looking at here today is taken from the back office. If you go to the back office of my NECAM, into the document library, you'll find incentives and recognition programs. And within there, you'll find this document that you can download. This is the 2022 program. Okay, so it's up to date, it's current. This is where you can find it. It's in the back office of my NECAM. Print it out, make yourself familiar with it. Let's look at the qualifications and move forward. Okay, so Club QI, the period for this is any 3-month period during all of 2022. So it isn't a calendar quarterly incentive program. It doesn't run January to March, April to June, or what have you. It's any 3 months. So it could be January, February, March, but it could also be February, March, April. Doesn't matter, okay? It's a 3-month period. During those 3 months, you need to accumulate 1,200 PPV in the 3-month period, a minimum being 100 points each month. That, of course, ties in with our compensation plan for qualifying for your commissions. Okay, so it's making sure that you're commission eligible throughout the period as well. And in addition to that, you need to create 12,000 PGPV. That's your personal group volume, 50% of which must be done, must be retail profit. And of course, and it says here, you must achieve a minimum of 2,000 PGPV each month during that period. Okay, so 3 rules. That last one really should be a point number 3, because it's an important one. Don't gloss over that. Okay, that's important. You must do at least 1,200 PV, 100 points of that being your own personal volume during that monthly period each month, and then you've got to do 12,000 PGV, 50% being retail, and of course you've got to make sure, pay attention to the detail there, 2,000 per month minimum. So what that means is what you can't do is do 12,000 points in the month of March and expect that to count. It doesn't. It's got to be spread out over the 3 months. Why would they do that? What's the sense in that? The reason for that rule is because they're trying to teach us good business practice. They're not trying to get us to cram things in. Do you remember when you were in school and you had this end of year exams? I'm not sure about you, but how many kids did you know that the night before are cramming like crazy to get the knowledge into their head so they can at least retain it just for the next day while they sit the test? If it goes out the window after that, it doesn't matter, as long as it was there for the test. Yeah. What they don't want to do is have us treat our business like an end of year exam when we're in high school. Because the reality is, when you treat it like that, then what happens if you get a big, great month, 1 month, and it's a cramming moment, it falls out the next month. You've not built anything. All you've done is you just shoved a load of volume in to make it count for that period for the sake of winning the trip. They want you to do more than simply win a trip or win an incentive. They want you to build your business. So what they're saying is, if you do the work on a monthly basis, build that foundation, then qualify at the end of the quarter or that 3-month period, you're gonna have created a lever for yourself, some leverage in your business where you can grow and step up. Okay. Now, why do I share Club QI out of all of the different incentives today? The reason for this is because what I have found, what I did, and what I know a lot of other people did that qualified for Team Kaizen, is we used Club QI as a milestone for keeping us on track throughout the course of a 12-month period. Because if you do Club QI every quarter, and I know some people have got that as their goals for this year, then what that means is you're going to be well on track for achieving Team Kaizen by December, right? So it's really good. Keeps it real nice and smooth, nice and simple. And of course, it gives you the chance to maximize your returns and your rewards and get everything that's on the table into your pocket or into your business. But it's a great way, again, to make sure that you're not using that cramming principle, which does not build your business. It doesn't build intelligence. It may make you pass a test when you're in school, but that's as far as that road runs. It doesn't take you much further. If you want to build a strong, solid business, you want to build it month after month after month. The key to it is consistency. Now, before I jump into Team Kaizen, I want to share with you, I wrote down 8 things that I did to qualify for Team Kaizen for this year. And as I share this, like I said, there's some other people on the call that have qualified for Team Kaizen and Team Tai Chi. Please be prepared to raise your hand and maybe share for a moment once I've finished sharing my comments. And let's see if we can maybe even gather some consistent trends or activities or plans, because if there's something that I did and you go, yeah, no, that's what I did too, then make a note of it. Because if we've got 3 or 4 people saying, I did this, I did this, I did this, what we're establishing here is a pattern of performance that can be copied or duplicated. That's showing its good sense. Okay. So the first thing that I did, and I'll point out as well, by the way, these were done in order, and I'll explain why that is the case as I go. The first thing that I did was I set a serious goal. I made a decision. Now, that seems like an obvious starting point, doesn't it? But for those of you that are considering Team Kaizen this year, or Club Ki, for example, have you really made a decision? One of the ways that I knew I had made the decision to do it was I announced it. I told people that this is what I was going to do. And for me, I don't like the idea of telling people I'm going to do Team Kaizen only to find myself publicly crash and burn and fail and not do it, right? I gave myself some appropriate pressure by announcing it and saying, this is what I'm doing for 2021. I'm going to do Team Kaizen. So I announced it. So I want you to make a note of that, because to me, when I make an announcement, that really demonstrates my seriousness in regards to making that goal happen. If I keep it a private goal, if I'm keeping it just to myself and saying, yeah, I'm going to do Team Kaizen, watch the space, I'm not going to tell anyone though. I'm just going to privately do it. Am I really serious? Am I really making a commitment? If I'm just privately saying it, if I'm whispering it to myself and not letting anyone know about it, I'm not, am I? So our willingness to share the goal is an important reflection on our commitment to it. Okay, so make sure that that's the case. Share. The next thing I did, and you'll notice that this comes in number 2, not number 1. I reviewed the criteria to fully appraise myself of the details. Now, why didn't I do that first? Why didn't I go, let's just have a look at that document in the document library and let's see what the criteria is and then decide if I'm going to do it. Why is that backwards? Because what we're doing there is we're deciding, maybe it's not for me. Oh, maybe that looks like a little bit of hard work. Yeah, maybe I can get talked out of it when I look at the workload that's required. What I'm doing is I'm forgetting my cause. When I start with my vision that I'm going to do this, I've got a why behind that. I've got a why behind that decision. That why will be reflective of, I want to build my organization because I'm growing towards platinum, or I'm growing towards diamond. And I need that organizational growth and that volume coming through, those new team members that are coming in through my qualification here. That's really going to give me that push. And it's going to help me keep focused and developing and building. And I'm going to do it quarter by quarter, month by month. I'm building my organization. I'm not cramming it in. Yeah, you've got reason and strategy behind this, purpose behind it. But if I do it the other way around and go, well, let's just look at the criteria, and then I quietly commit to myself that, yeah, okay, no, I think I can do that, right? Then I'm only looking at the rules. And that's not going to inspire me when the going gets tough. When you get to the 15th of March and you're 5,000 points away from Club Ki, for example, What's going to push you to work real hard those last couple of weeks if it's all about the rules, if it's all about a private commitment? Nothing. Yeah, it's not going to work that way. So you've got to start with your vision, lead with your vision, and then get the details firm in your mind to know what you're really needing to do on a month-by-month basis. The third thing that I do is I establish my baseline. What do I currently do on a month-by-month basis compared to what needs to be done? And this links with step number 4, which is I define the gap and break it down, number 5, into monthly goals. So I define the gap between where is my business at presently and what do I need to do on a monthly basis to get that result in order to win. What is the difference? I define the gap and then I build it in. And I say, okay, so if my business, for example, typically does 2,500 points a month in volume, in PGV, and maybe only 30% of that is retail, then I need to get, of course, I need to bump that up closer to 4,500 points a month. And I need to make sure that at least 50% of that is retail. So now I'm needing to see an extra amount of volume is going to come from somewhere over and above what I'm currently doing in order to get that result happening. But I define it and I get specific and I break it down into monthly targets. The next thing that I do is I write it down and I make it visible. And it's not just on a little sticky pad. I write it down on a big sheet. Kim and I got this big sheet. I think she got an A3. Kim wrote up, got a big sheet of A3 paper. And she drew it up month by month, January, February, March, April, May. Bam, 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 all the way down through to December. And then across the board, what do we need to do on a monthly basis? Volume, PV, PGV, retail. And we specified the retail. We had a column for that. How much of that volume that we got in this month was retail? Know it specifically, break it down, make it happen. And then how many people do we need to recruit? When are we going to get them done by? And we had that all in. How much volume have they created? A little sub-column there for them in regards to how many people we sponsored and how much volume have they created since they've joined the business. We got it all specific. We mapped it out and we put it up on our wall. And it was, as we'd lay in our bed, here's our headboard. We'd be lying in bed at the other end of the room as we get up in the morning, near the door, as we walk out of the room, there it was. It was right there, nice and visible. So every morning when I got up and when I left my bedroom, I had a visual reminder of my monthly goals and where I was at in achieving them throughout the course of the year. Yeah. And it was there, nice and bright and visible for me to see. The next thing that I did after breaking it down into monthly goals, writing it down and making it visible, number 7 was I made myself accountable. Now, for me, that was straightforward. My accountability partner was Kim. So we worked together to keep ourselves really accountable with our goals. And she was great. She'd be in the back office, checking on volume, making sure that people have placed orders, checking out how much of that was customer activity, knowing the details. She was in the back office on a daily basis. And definitely at the end of the month, she was always there double checking, are we on top of our goal? What do we need to do? In that last week of the month, she was busy. What's the gap? Are we on track? Okay, we're 1,000 short for the end of the month. What are we going to do? We've qualified for earning our commission check, but we haven't necessarily qualified for our goal for Team Kaizen for the month, right? So we broke it down for, have I qualified this month? Not in December, but this month. Have I done what's required? Now, this was an interesting thing, just as a side note. When it came to about September time, we started to see different people in the organization popping up as qualified already for Team Kaizen and then going on to Team Taishi and what have you. Did you notice that last year? That way before the end of the year, people started qualifying. Bam, bam, bam. It was happening. My ego potentially interfered with me a little bit because I saw that and I thought, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not qualifying. My goal was to qualify by November time and get in before Christmas. My goal was to qualify with everything before Christmas. That was my goal, so that I could relax at the end of the year and not have to stress about it on the 30th of December or the 31st. That was my goal. But my goal was broken down into monthly targets that would qualify me around the beginning of December, end of November time, around that period of time. But when people started qualifying in September, then my ego got in the way a little bit. And I thought, oh, maybe I should change my goal. Maybe I should change my strategy, right? Maybe I need to be one of these guys that's winning it real fast as well. And I don't want to be left behind. I know the leaderboards, and I can see myself at the bottom of the list. It was on the list, but I was down the bottom of the page, and I was thinking, I'd like to be further up the page, right? But that wasn't my goal. That was their goal. And I want to emphasize this. Now, could I have changed my goal to get there? Well, sure I could. But I needed to recognize that my goal also aligned with what I had going on in my life at the same time. We also gave birth to a new baby last year, right? Number 8, we also moved house, which required us to move like 3 or 4 times in between into different Airbnbs and all sorts of crazy stuff going on. So we moved from California to Utah, and then 3 times in Utah before we moved into our final house. Then we had all the unpacking to do and the settling in and all that kind of stuff, all on top of it. So would it have been wise for me to let my ego interfere a little bit there in order to come in number 2 or 3 instead of simply qualifying the way that I planned? It wouldn't have been wise. So the reason I share this is it's important to recognize the value of your own goals and targets. Remember why you set them in January, and remind yourself throughout the year of your purpose and your mission. What was your objective? For me, the objective and the reason that I wanted to qualify was to be an example to my team. That was my driving force. I wanted people to see that I'm active and engaged in building my business this year. This is what it's all about. I'm doing it. I'm building it. My organization means I get a good check regardless of whether I qualify for Team Kaizen. I'm grateful for that, but I wanted it to be more than about that. It needed to be something bigger. So that was my purpose. So I wanted to be able to demonstrate that I'm committed and engaged and involved month after month, irrespective of what's going on around me right now. And so I didn't need to race ahead. That's my point. So my point is, keep in mind your reasons for being when you're in the race, okay? And remember that you're competing against yourself for the sake of growing your business. You're not competing against everyone else. Remember that. It's all about what this can do for your business, for your team, for your results. This is really, really important. So, like I said, number 7 was to make myself accountable. And my accountability partner was Kim. She is a ferocious accountability partner. She's really good at keeping on top of things. And we share the load there in regards to getting that done really well. At number 8, and I took some time thinking about this and wondering if there was number 9 or 10 that I should be adding to my list. And I stopped here because I'd recently done an HBM in Atlanta, and to me, this just made sense. Do whatever it takes. That's number 8. Do whatever it takes. Now that means a lot when you verbalize it and publish it and declare it and announce it at the beginning of the year. This is my intention. This is what I'm going to do. You declare it and then you do whatever it takes to get the job done. Now, I was thinking, but what if people today want specifics? What specifically did you do to gather more customers, to fill the gap, to find your new people, what have you? And then I thought, well, that actually varies, doesn't it, from person to person? If I was to ask Bob and Sue, they'd probably give a different strategy to what they did to get their volume in compared to me. Maybe Yoko would do the same, right? So I thought, so what's the difference? What do they need to know? And then I remembered my recent training in Atlanta at the HBM. There is a formula that we have been taught, isn't there? I plus M equals R. Intention plus mechanism equals result. And then what do we do when we're learning that principle? Okay, you're going to fly across the world. Yeah, or you're going to travel from this location to that location. How are you going to get there? Everyone goes a different way. None of you can do it the same. Some people fly across the stage, don't they? Okay, I'm going to take a plane to go to where I want to get to. Okay, I'm going to take a boat. I'm going to take a canoe, right? I'm going to take a hot air balloon. And we come up with all these creative ways to get from A to B. And what's the point? The point is really, the formula is not intention plus mechanism equals results. It's intention equals results. If your intention is strong enough, you will always find a how. Yeah, you'll always find the way to make it happen. So that's my point number 8. Have a strong and clear intention. Make it real. It is strengthened through accountability, and it is strengthened by sharing it. When we apply these principles, we will make sure that it happens. And then especially when we apply that rule of do whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes within the framework of integrity, of course, to get the job done. Within the framework of integrity, you do whatever it takes to get the job done. And that's what happens. And you will find when you do that with enthusiasm, with confidence and conviction and determination, that opportunities present themselves throughout the courses of the month and the year, and you will find yourself reaping the benefits of that intention. So we've got a few minutes, and I took longer than I expected there, but anyone on Team Kaizen or Team Tai Chi want to raise your hand and maybe share a few thoughts before we close, to add to my list of 8 points and share maybe some things that you did that were the same, or maybe some things that were different, or anything that stood out to you as we went through those processes. Anyone want to raise their hand or unmute their line? Yoko, come on. Oh, here we go. Sue. We'll go to Sue, then we'll go to Yoko.
Okay. I did a lot of what you did. For us, a lot of it had to do with the fact that last year we didn't achieve anything, you know, which that really kind of cut deep. But we knew what we had done wrong. We knew we hadn't focused on bringing new people into the business. And it's all, I mean, my goal was balance the business. We've already mastered the retailing. We do a really good job of that. So I don't even have to worry whether half of my volume is going to be our retailing, because that unfortunately, that is the majority of our volume. You know, we never make MVP because we don't have the group that's active, you know. So you know, goals are to get a more active team, find people who really want to do the business, and maintain our retailing.
Yeah.
And we keep track of it. We know what we have to do every month. We know what the minimum is. We know what the maximum is to reach Team Tai Chi. Yeah. And we want to be there. And so we keep track of it. Mary Bowser's papers that she passed out for keeping track of things are fabulous. You know, they're free, copy them down, use them month after month. It's those kind of things. And, you know, accountability, I always say, oh, I don't have an accountability partner, but it's Bob. I mean, like, you know, when you say it's you and Kim, you know, he and I do this together, and we're constantly bouncing things off of each other. And so, you know, it's just knowing where you want to be, knowing what you have to do to get there, keeping track of it, and you know, doing it.
Yeah.
So
no, I love it. I just want to reiterate something that Sue said that I hope you picked up on, and that is, they knew what their business needed to grow. They had strength in the retail, but they knew they wanted to get some strength and growth in balance with organization. And so the way that they strategized was to get that balance. You see how it changes a little bit according to the dynamics of your own organization. Know the strengths and the weaknesses of your own team or your own business. But when, you know, if you've got a strength in retail, great, then you know you need to lift up the organizational bit. If you've got a good organization, a good team, but you're lacking in the retail, then you know you need to lift that. It's a chance to balance and to evaluate and to recognize the strengths and weaknesses of what you have in order to make it change and grow. Bob, you wanted to add on that just before we jump into Yoko?
Yeah, yeah, I guess I'm unmuted.
Hmm.
Well, we took your tip too, because we didn't have enough people signed up last year.
Yeah.
So this year, that was one of our key goals. We was going to get the people right off the bat. And then that would give us all year for them to get to their goals so we could get to our goals.
Yeah.
So that was a key thing. You know, last year we had the volume, we didn't have the people.
Yeah.
So we learned, you know, you make a mistake and you learn. So, and then the other thing is ask for help. If you're having trouble with something, find somebody that knows how to do it and have them help you.
Yeah.
And then it makes it easier. You know, a lot of people procrastinate because they don't know the answer.
Yeah.
But procrastination could be good if you use it as a planning, you know, if you learn from it. So anyway, that's what I wanted to add.
Yeah, I like that point. So I remember we had some discussions end of 2020 around recruitment and the stress that was creating. Yeah, because it just wasn't happening at that point. But boy, first quarter of 2021, that sure changed for you guys. Yeah, that was fantastic. And I applied the same principle. I got I enrolled 7 last year. 4 of them came in the month of January. Yeah, because I wanted to go, let's just get that bit done. Let's just get it sorted. Let's take the stress off. Yeah, and it made a big difference. So Yoko, your thoughts?
Okay, the only thing I have a very similar path as Bob and Sue, because I also did not qualify. I had all of the volume exceeded, but not the team. So my team, which is key. And I think this team building is very, very different because we have a very unique, and I call it a very unique, and we're gifted to have this platform because it does require a team. In other words, but what's great about it is that's the base of collaboration, of teaming. Okay. And that's something that you learn in corporate business. That's my baseline. However, the point is now we do it for the community. In other words, anybody can now participate. And so it's a wonderful, wonderful gift that we want to share. So in that way, I have been very, I call it grateful. And I did get my team started, and I did actually go to gold in April. Okay. So you're right. I mean, you never know what comes along with all of your, I call it teaming and developing and growing.
Yeah.
And then I achieved platinum only because of the teaming this year. Okay.
Yeah.
So those are all the side benefits you get in addition to all the incentives. So everyone just, you know, there's so much more here that is out there. And like you're saying, the clarity of the beginning of each year helps that. And then you can also develop and expand it.
Yeah.
And like Bob said, hey, that's my one of my mantras in business. I've grown and learned just by all the thousands of probably mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, that's and if you then use those mistakes to grow, then that basically is a win-win for everybody.
Exactly. And I would like to highlight, by the way, of everyone that's on the call today, that we need to pay more attention to Yoko, right? Yoko has done some phenomenal work. 2021 was an incredible year for Yoko. Yeah, it really was. She didn't just qualify for the trip. She went from ground zero to platinum. Yeah, that's huge. She really started building, you know, from the ground up and going, she's been in the business a long time, but I'm going to recreate, rebuild, and develop something here that is huge. And she did it. She did the rank advancement, she did the incentive trips, and she did it with gusto. And throughout the course of the year, I'd get these phone calls out of the blue from Yoko saying, Ben, just want you to know this is where I'm at. This is what's going on. This is what we're doing. And she'd just jump on and she'd update me. She'd keep me posted. She'd keep me informed. And every now and then, I've got a question or I'm stuck here. What do I do? We talk about it and off we go. And it was just phenomenal. And
see, that's a collaboration that you don't get in corporate America. Corporate America is only one guy on top and a couple underneath and then a big wide middle. Okay. So no one really cares about you. You have to take care of yourself. Here, everybody cares about you. Okay. Yeah. So it's teaming. If I didn't have Heather and Dr. Gary collaborating with me this past year, they were the key in addition to plus my team was developing it. So the collaboration, please use it, everybody, because it's an amazing vehicle, and I've never seen it work so well in
Yeah.
one company here.
It's fantastic. It really is. So I want to say thank you to those that have shared some insights today along with me. I know there's others on the call that have also qualified. Our time is fast spent, and maybe throughout the course of the next couple of months or next couple of calls, we can carry this trend on and get some discussion going, because it's really insightful. And I do find it interesting that everyone that shared said, yeah, we've kind of all done similar things. It's been manifest slightly differently according to the dynamics of each individual's unique business strengths and weaknesses and framework and setup. But the principles, the governing principles, were the same. Accountability partners, working hard, having a clear vision, clarity in what they're doing, having a strong commitment, having a clear plan, breaking it down to monthly activities, doing the hard stuff first. Yeah, that really came through, didn't it? Do the hard stuff first. Make sure that it's a team result versus just you. Really important as well. Get that balance right. Focus on the strengths and weaknesses of your organization to get the best outcome for your business. All really solid advice. I hope this has been helpful, and I hope it encourages you to reflect on your goals for 2022 of what you want to achieve. Maybe it is Team Kaizen or Team Taishi. Maybe it is simply just doing Club Ki a little bit, maybe a couple of times throughout the year, just to develop some traction. Because one thing that is also important to highlight is what some have already said, Nicole, that last year they won it, but the year before they didn't. They tried, they failed. They struggled, they learned some things the hard way. They missed out, they got this part done, they missed this other part, and it was frustrating, and it was a learning curve. And I know that others that I've worked with in this process have built up that baseline from here to here. And then this year, they're starting at this point and they're going up to there. And then the next year they'll go from that point and they'll go up higher. And they're building their baselines, and they're taking their business from where it was to where it should be in incremental annual steps. And so they see this as a process, not simply a means to an end. It's not just a means to an end. The side benefit is you get to get the recognition, get celebrated, be on the team, enjoy the trip, have the fun, what have you, but that's a side benefit. The real benefit is what it can do for your business if you do it right. That's the difference. So if you are wanting to grow your business and get long-term results, build that residual check, get something happening that's going to stick around, the incentive trips, the monthly and quarterly incentive programs like Club Ki, Power Start for your new people, these are all helpful measurements to get you moving in the right direction. So I hope this has been helpful. Thank you for letting me go over a little bit today, but I hope it's been worthwhile. I certainly feel that it has been. And anyone that wants to declare their goals, let's jump on. I've been doing a weekly call with Jeff Isom on Wednesday nights, the Entrepreneurs Being More call. And we've been talking specifics about financial goals and business goals and what have you. And we're getting into the details there. So if you want to participate in that, jump on Wednesday night, 5 p.m. Pacific time. I think it's the same bat channel that we're on right now. So jump on, participate, and declare it. Let your intention be known, make it real. And thank you all very much, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
Thank you, Ben.
Bye-bye.